it. All right, so we are live, I believe. Yep. And once we have a few more people joining us, then I will start recording as well on the Zoom, and then we'll start rocking and rolling. So let's just, you know how it is that it just takes a few moments for people to get the notifications that we are live. So hello, everyone, dear beautiful friends here in the Revitalize Your Life group. Thank you for joining us. And if you are joining, then please leave a comment that I know that you are here. I know there's a little bit of a delay between me speaking and you actually hearing it. So I say it, and then it takes like 10 seconds for the comments to actually show up. It's at the beginning, you know, when I just started doing the live streaming into the group, it was like, I would be like, nobody's responding. Like, I'm asking them to put a comment. It's like 2 minutes later, I'm like, hello. So hi. Oh, Pamela. Yes. Excited to be here. Hello, Pamela. Yes, I'm excited for you to be here as well. So if you are joining, just please leave your comments. I'm gonna just open it on my phone as well. So I have it here. Okay, perfect. And I can see your comments as well. Okay, wonderful. So since we are 5 minutes after the hour, our scheduled time, we'll just start rocking and rolling. People are gonna join. And just say hello when you are joining here. I can see your comments. If you want to stay anonymous, that's totally fine as well. Up to you. And just enjoy this conversation today. And I am so excited. And you hear me say that every time because it's true. Every person that I bring here on board, I either have a very deep personal connection with them or I admire them, inspired by them, and I know they have a very powerful story to share, and that's the main objective and one of the main intents that I have with bringing people here from various walks of life. That's another thing. You see the variety of people and the variety of stories, but there's one common thread. There's one common thread, and that's why I'm thrilled to have these conversations. This common thread, which is heal thyself. It's very simple. It's the message of empowerment. It's the message of self-love. And for us, returning back home, right? And that's really what it's all about. It's returning back home. It's helping each other to come back home to ourselves. Each and every one of us is going to have a very unique journey of how to return home. However, though, again, that's the common thread. The natural laws and the natural principles of life are the one that are going to help all of us to return back home. And that is the common thread. It's the power of nature. It's the power of fasting. It's the power of fruits, solid food vacations, emotional healing, rest, relaxation, rejuvenation, prayer, meditation, like all these things that naturally we were designed to do. We were designed, the state that we were designed to be in, our natural state. And so that is the common thread, the large umbrella that encompasses all these conversations here and the people that come and share their stories. And this is what the group is about. It's revitalize your life. Like, how do you do that? And once you revitalize your life and every cell in your body, then what's available for you is so magnificent and so immense. So hello, Tina. Thank you for joining us, dear one. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, if Aline and I were going to be having our conversation, if you have any questions, just stack them in the comments. I will come back to it and address it later. But now let me introduce this beloved, beautiful sister, Aline, which we recently connected on Facebook, and it was such an instant, absolutely instant connection. I felt it in my heart. She's such a soul sister. And let me just change the view here for the recording. Just Remember that? Okay, cool. She's such a soul sister of mine. And we actually had a conversation, just her and I, a few days ago, and we talked for about 2 hours, and we could have gone for probably 6 more hours, if not the entire night. But it was like almost midnight for Aline because of time difference. So we said goodbye. And then we coordinated to do this conversation, which is one of many that we'll be doing, because we both, Aline and I, are very, very passionate about sharing this message of healing and regeneration. And both Aline and I have found the truth, the light of truth, and the way back home through fruits, through God, through fasting, and we'll talk about all these things, all these different tools. We also, Aline and I, share a lot of common threads when it comes to our journey before we started on this healing path. Things like depression, things like mental imbalances, you can say, what is depression, and eating disorders, things that so many people and in our society at large just accept as normal these days. Like anxiety and depression is like a normal thing, and not really understanding the root causes of that. And when you start to heal your body and change the chemistry, all these things that we even classify as emotional and mental issues disappear, because it's all connected. So we'll dive into that, Aline and I, as well. And Aline has overcome so many obstacles in that regards, and coming from a dark place really into the light. And she is gracious enough to share her story, of things that some people just want to hide, and that's another thing that I admire about Aline, is that she's just very open and very honest. It's like, yeah, I was addicted to drugs and whatnot, and here I am today, and it's possible, it's available. You see, it's if I've done it, and anybody can do it. And she is doing amazing, absolutely amazing things in the world. She has retreats in Belize, helping people to transition into living foods and into more fruits. So Aline is working with people that are at the beginning stages also of this journey, and like, okay, I want to transition from a sad diet to living food, show me how to do it. And she has another amazing group on Facebook as well, that she constantly shares information and inspiration about the power of fruits, the power of fasting. She shares from her own personal journey. As I said, she's very raw. And this is the conversation that we're going to have here today. It's raw, it's real, it's alive, and it's meant and designed to remind you of who you are and spark something in your heart. So I can keep going forever and ever. Aline, thank you so much for joining us, dear beautiful soul sister. I'm so happy to have you here. And please just share with our beautiful people here and with the group a little bit about your journey, and what inspired you, what motivated you to, and how did you even find about fruits and everything that was revealed to you.
Thank you so much. I'd love to start by thanking you for inviting me here in your beautiful community, in your group. I am definitely resonating with everything you said and feel a deep connection with you too. And, the first moment I heard you speaking, I was like, wow, she's speaking my language. We're on the same wavelength, and we see each other, and we know what it took to get here. That's why we have so much admiration and respect for one another. And I am so impressed with everything you're doing as well, and inspiring others and lighting up the world and giving hope. When you talk about showing people what's possible, that's what I'm all about too. It's like, I love to show people what's possible, people who transform their lives, people who, make changes in their life, overcome and rise above all their struggles. So having a space here to share, I'm usually the one doing in the interview. So this is very special to me, receiving that and talking about myself in this context. So I appreciate this opportunity to share my journey. It has not been an easy one. I love to share because I think my life paints a good picture of the reality of recovery, and that it's not a straight line. Healing has definitely not been a overnight decision of like, oh, I surrender and everything is just going to be perfect after that. I have been, for the last over 20 years, climbing my way out of depression, anxiety, suicide attempts, eating disorders, hospitalizations, rehabs. And, it's only over the last few years, having found the path of living foods, that things really started getting better for me. I started really feeling better in my body, in my mind, when before that, it just wasn't working. Nothing was working. I went down the pharmaceutical route. I went down, the traditional rehab route, and just none of it was working for me. And I really came across this path when did I start? It was about 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was struggling really with my gut, with my digestion, I would say. I was drinking, I was partying a lot, I was eating a lot of, fried chicken. I was living in Belize at the time. Right now I'm in Montreal, Canada, where I'm originally from. I do plan to return to Belize, but we could talk about that later. But yeah, I was in Belize and just eating the regular foods, right? The yummy, like stewed chicken, rice and beans, and like pork and all the things. And I was finding myself with a lot of gut issues. I was very constipated, chronically constipated. I thought it was normal to not go to the bathroom for 3 or 4 or 5 days. So that's really how it started, was me. I started researching, what causes constipation. And I actually came across the fact that meat takes so much longer to digest. I was like, okay, let me cut down on the meat, or let me eliminate it for a while. So that was my beginning of vegetarianism, was about 10 years ago. And I started seeing already an improvement right away. In that first week, I started, going to the bathroom easier. I started feeling a little bit better. My depression started lifting. So I was like, okay, there's something to this. It took about a year to fully transition. So I did a 6-month at that time. I stopped eating meat for about 6 months. It ended up causing my separation with my fiance, because he was like, I don't even know, because he used to cook. So he used to make a lot of food for me, barbecue, and it was like a very emotional thing, and he just didn't know what to cook for me anymore. So anyway, that created a lot of friction. We had other problems too. But after that breakup, I went through a deep depression. I wanted to kill myself. And that's when the drugs came in and really like took on a whole new meaning in my life. I started experimenting with cocaine, with MDMA and crack. And I just went down a really rapid downfall. And at that point, I already had my daughter. I've been a single mom ever since, but my daughter was probably 4 or 5 at that time. And I ended up losing her. Basically, my dad had to come and take care of her. And it was just a whirlwind of things, because I had already started trying to get into yoga. I had become a yoga teacher. So it was just like this crossroad in my life at that point, where I could either choose this like really healthy path of, veganism. And I was already learning about the raw foods. I was already researching Dr. Sebi, Dr. Robert Morse. I was starting to already have that knowledge of like, okay, I knew I had to go to the living foods from then 10 years ago. I was like, this is the path. This makes a lot of sense. Fruits, herbs, going back to nature, that it rang true in my body and my soul, but it took me a long time to actually get there. But so, and then I ended up going to rehab and started working with plant medicines and with holistic practitioners at that time. And I had a very spiritual awakening when I did my first plant medicine experience, that showed me my mission, showed me who I was, helped me to remember my divinity within. And that set me on a whole new trajectory of my life. And I decided from then on that I knew I had to be sober. I knew I couldn't drink anymore at all. I knew I couldn't smoke any, joints anymore. I couldn't touch any alcohol or like anything at all, because it was going to spiral me out of control. I did come to have relapses afterwards, but it just kept solidifying my commitment and my absolute need for sobriety and for following this holistic path. And I knew deep inside that, like, if I was going to make it out alive, I had to be not just like all the other recovering addicts in the room that were drinking coffee and eating cake and, you know, smoking the cigarettes. I had to be pure. I had to purify myself. I had to ask God for forgiveness. I had to clean my temple and get the parasites out too. I knew that I had parasites in me that were probably controlling my mind, controlling myself. I was like, this is like, it's not even me. I felt like there was entities inside of me that were controlling me, that were making me even go out and have sex with random people and, like, you know, do all these things. I feel like I was an open portal. And so I knew I had to really cleanse myself. And I mean, even at the rehab, they used to joke, I used to, you know, they used to tell me, like, you're the healthiest addict we've ever met. Like, you won't eat gluten, you won't eat sugar, but like, you came here for crack. It's just like, but it just made sense in my head. So it's just really interesting to have those polarities, because I was like, oh no, I'm healthy. Oh no, I won't touch that dessert, or I won't. But again, because I come from like a background of eating disorders too, so I had that like obsessive thinking with the food, but I was already very health conscious. And I was realizing that I was with a lot of pain. I had a lot of suffering inside, a lot of trauma. So that was another component of my healing, was like going down and doing the shadow work, doing the emotional work that came with it. I had a hard time crying. Now I cry all the time. Like, I had to get in touch with my feelings. That was a huge part of it. And now, you know, my daughter is 13 years old. I have her back. I'm sober. I am, you know, I've been juicing a lot. I went on like extended juice cleanses. I went on an extended water fast as well. And I'm just like so dedicated to doing whatever it takes so that that never happens again and I don't relapse again, to keep her and to be a good mom and to live out my mission and continue to inspire others. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to give a moment to just receive it all and appreciate your honesty and sharing and your story, Eileen, because I heard now things for the first time that we didn't really go into when we connected one-on-one. So I have so much respect and appreciation for you and your journey and your choices and your bravery. That's what I always say. It's a journey of the brave. It requires a lot of courage to overcome these things. So thank you so much for sharing everything. Hello, Ceci Maria. Hello, Teresa. Pamela is saying awesome testimony. Absolutely. I think you just hear it again and again and again. It's and I really appreciate that you shared, Aline, that you were on like kind of like recovery. Like you said, you cut out the meat, you're climbing out of that, experimenting with different things. But it wasn't until the living foods that things really shifted for you, at least physically, right? With your gut and such. But then even after the living foods, it's not until you got more into the juice feasting and into the high fruits that was a game changer, correct?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, that is across the board. And that's something I can say for myself as well, you know, and that's also one of the reasons why people are like on living foods for a long time and they don't really see many improvements, you know, because it's really about opening the elimination channels and starting to bring more balance and peace to the body. And that can only happen when we start taking things out, when we just give the body a complete break. And the fruits are just the easiest to assimilate and to break down. So it's like you're still having solids, but it's somewhat of a break. But then it's when you get to the solid food vacations and the non-consumption that things really, really shift and turn. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah. The first time I did a juice cleanse, it was quite a while ago. It was almost 10 years.
Yeah. Tell us about that. When was your first one and how long was it? And what was your experience after that?
Yeah, so my first one was about 10 years ago. I did it with my dad who went vegan after his first juice cleanse. And we had seen the movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead with Joe Cross. And we were like, oh my God, we got to do this. We went out and got a juicer and we started juicing and we did 10 days. Our first one was 10 days. And that was the light bulb that went off. And I didn't really realize why I felt so good at the time, but now I see that it's because I was on living foods. It was the first time I was exclusively on liquids and living foods, and I was eliminating so well. So that was my first time, and then I went on to do a few short ones throughout the years. But yeah, my dad, his whole palate changed, and he went plant-based after that one juice cleanse. He wasn't even planning on it, but that's what happened, and he hasn't eaten meat since. Yeah,
Wow, I mean, that's
yeah,
amazing. And that
yeah.
was only after 10 days.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow.
And
Go
he was
dad. I
60. He
love
was six,
that.
yeah, 60 years old. So we're never,
Oh yeah.
it's always a good time, you know?
Never too late, never too old. Absolutely. And we have some of the viewers here, some of the ladies that are about to embark on an extended solitude vacation as part of the group immersion that we
Yay.
just started. Yeah. And Pamela, that is here, has done 2 30-day solitude
Wow.
vacations already, and definitely has experienced such a shift. Yes. Yeah. And when was your the first extended self-certification? You did 100, and so, right, because we did a flip, like your first one was 100
Yes,
and how many days?
113.
113. And
Yes,
when was that?
that was
And
3 years
yeah.
ago. That was, yeah, 3 years ago. A little bit more than
Okay,
three, yeah, about 3 years ago. Yeah.
okay. And
Mhm.
so what was your experience after that first one? Also, what was your motivation to go the distance, and what kept you going for 113 days?
Mhm. Well, my motivation was to transition to raw foods. I had been wanting to be a raw vegan for a long time. Like I knew that was what I needed to do. But I just always kept going back to the cooked foods and struggling with the cooked foods and my food addictions, especially the like fake meats. I was eating a lot of like Beyond Meat burgers, and I was already like gluten free and all that, but I was struggling with the tofu and, those kinds of meats, but I wasn't feeling good. And then I met my who became my mentor and my boss afterwards, Shane Sterling of Raw Vegan Heroes. And he was talking about mucoid plaque. So that was the first time I had ever heard about mucoid plaque, that was like a long rubbery snake inside of us that causes, acidosis and depression and chronic inflammation and addictions and all of that. So I was like, I probably have that in me. So like, I need to get that out. And he was promoting a 40-day juice cleanse. And at the time I thought 40 days was so long, but I said, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do 40 days, whatever it takes to get this snake out of me. And so when I started, I joined his community, and that really inspired me a lot, which also led me to create my own community because I saw the importance of having a community and having support. So that community really helped me to continue. And then he was like, well, if you're still seeing plaque, you keep on going. He goes, this could take 60 days. This could take 90 days. It could take 120. It could take a year. Some people need to go a full year to really cleanse out everything that's in there. So as I kept on going and I was releasing more and more plaque, I couldn't even believe that was in me because I wasn't necessarily overweight. I was pretty much almost the same weight as I am now, but I had a lot of waste inside. So I was like, where is this coming from? But once I started seeing all of that come out, I was just unstoppable. Like I just needed to go the distance, and that kept me motivated to continue because I knew that because I had been relapsing many times. I had been going in and out of rehab over the last years before that. And it was at the beginning of lockdown. So I said, either I'm heading into another relapse or I'm heading into the best chapter of my life. So that juice cleanse was another crossroads for me. It was like, I am not going down this path again. I need to do something very serious, very drastic for my life. Something needs to change. And that's really what I had to do. And yeah, and I just was like committed.
Yes, baby. Boom, shakalaka. Of course, you're speaking the same language, because that's exactly like I have several videos that I did after the first ultra vacation. And the extended one I did, and I said the same thing. It's when I saw what was coming out of me, that's what kept me going.
Yeah.
That's what kept me going. It's like, oh my God, I don't want this inside of me. And let me tell me if this is something you experienced as well, because you've done 3 extended juice feasts since then, right? So you had 113. The second one was 90.
Yeah, I did 66 and then 96 days. Yeah.
Okay,
Over like
okay,
2
okay.
years, in a period of 2 years. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. Which I find to be an amazing way to go about it. You know, for some people, they don't really have the endurance to just do a year straight or 6 months straight. So to do like a long one, then to give yourself like a month or a couple of months, and then do another long one. That's what I'm basically what I'll be doing this full year. So I find that to be really amazing as well. But what I wanted to ask you or to say is like, yeah, that's what I would say as well. Like when I saw what was coming out of me was such a motivation to keep on going. It's like, why would I even want to stop? Like for sure. And what was the biggest, or you would say the few biggest highlights or benefits that you experienced after that first long one, that you felt like, oh wow, something really shifted here?
I also wanted to mention too, during the juice cleanse, what I was feeling in terms of my mood was also a huge motivation for continuing too. I felt very positive. You know, my mind started changing, my attitude about life. I had more hope. I was smiling more, you know, like it really helped me to not have depression, you know, and my anxiety too went away. And I was just like, okay, there's something very electrical happening. You know, you were talking about chemistry, like my chemistry was changing. So that really, really kept me going as well. And also there were tears, you know, also there was like releases. There was a deep emotional detox that was happening, that like stuff that I was holding on to, memories were surfacing. So I knew there was a lot of deep work to be done. And I was grateful for that. Those releasing the blocks, you know, it was helping me release blocks inside of me. And I realized I wanted to help people too, that like my mission came through from that juice cleanse. Because before that, I knew I wanted to help people, but I didn't know how I was going to help them. So now after doing this, that just opened up the door to my whole mission work and to what I'm doing now, which is coaching people through juice cleanses, inspiring them, and helping others through their transformation. So I couldn't have done that had I not been through it. So that was like the biggest thing. My whole life changed. You know, I was a hotelier in Belize before this, which I absolutely love and adore. And this is going to serve me for the healing center that I'm dreaming of as well. You know, all my experience with guests and, you know, customer service and all of that. I love that. I love helping people. But now this was like, okay, this is opening up new doors for me to how to help people. So that is really what happened. And I also was more tuned in to the raw foods naturally after that. It's like my gut was changed. My palate was cleaned. I was able to taste food better. You know, I could eat an apple or some grapes and strawberries and feel satisfied. And I was like, okay, this is completely new. Like, I don't really need that much more. And then the foods that I used to eat didn't really appeal to me so much. And if I did eat them, they didn't really feel good. So naturally, my body was like shifting towards the living foods. And it's just like helped me manifest so many things, people in my life. Like I became a super connector, a super conduit of like God's force, God's love, and his, you know, I developed a deeper connection with God, you know, like what it means to pray, you know, like when I wanted to give up so many times, I just like got on my knees and just helped him, like I asked him to help me to get through another day, and he did. Like I really feel like he was gracing me with so much more miracles in my life. Yeah.
Oh God.
I used to have like cystic acne, and that juice cleanse really, really helped clear a lot of my skin. My vision got better, all of it. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it's definitely, the list is long and long and long. And as you're speaking, there's just many little light bulbs that are turning on for me, and threads and things that we can talk about. And it's really what Aline is sharing is so beautiful in regards to walking back home, because that connection, that spiritual connection that we feel when we clean our body, because I had the same experience, and every single person that I know that has embarked on an extended solitude vacation, and extended, not that you don't feel amazing benefits after 30 days, after 40 days, after even after 10 days, of course, but it's just like the longer you go, the more doors are going to open, just naturally, right? Just like anything else you do in life. The difference if you go to visit a country for a week, or when you stay for like 3 months and really immerse yourself in the country, and then you discover so much more than what you would discover in just 1 week kind of strolling around the village. Mm-hmm. So it's that spiritual connection that opens up when we embark on an extended solitude vacation is so miraculous. And what you shared, Aline, with also having the channel more open, and being connected, or seeing more of, oh, this is what I am meant to bring forth. The way I break it down and explain it is that what happens during an extended solitude vacation, or when we just purify, regardless what it is, it's a fast, if it's all fruit, whatever the person is doing that's starting to purify, is that we begin a unification process in our consciousness. We actually start to unify the body and the soul, because the body is cleaner and more full of light, which is our natural state, which is that of the soul essence, right? The soul is not in the physical form. And majority of people, when the body is really dirty and obstructed and acidic and laden with diseases and imbalances and whatnot, the soul doesn't really feel safe to fully occupy the physical vehicle. I mean, think about you. Would you get into a car that the driver is drunk, high, doesn't know where he's going? One eye is shut, so he can't even see clearly, or maybe he's half blind, barely can hear, very confused, smells horrible. The car is dirty, filthy. There's like bugs and cockroaches crawling all over the seats. The car is like half broken. One wheel is missing. It keeps stopping. It doesn't really go. And the guy is like, "Hey, jump on my car. I'll give you a ride. Would you go in?"
No.
He'll be like, "No, thanks. I'll wait for another ride, even if that means that I'm gonna stand here and wait for a ride for like 2 years." Because you wouldn't get into that car. It doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel right. So in that sense, just realize that the body is that physical vehicle. And this is from my own experience, when we talk about the process of embodiment, that the soul doesn't feel safe to fully occupy the vehicle. And that's when we experience various conditions and issues, including many people that feel like disconnected, or I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my life, or some people that might know, but they don't really have that like empowerment or the force that moves them to take action in the direction of their dreams and passion. And that's why a lot of people compromise. I'm like, oh, I'll just do this job, and not really fully being happy and joyful and fulfilled. And that's also one of the reasons why there's so many food addictions, because we go to food to fulfill something. And whatever it is, if it's like a relationship that you are not fully fulfilled, it's your job that you're not fully fulfilled, it's your own creativity, like you just don't bring forth what is in you, right? And so we compensate with other things, and that's where the addictions come. And so what Aline is sharing, also the the summary of that, basically what she experienced in her life. And maybe you don't have a history of drug addictions or whatever it may be, but we all have gone through and still are in the place of using certain vices, and food is a huge one. Right? So on a deeper emotional, spiritual level, it's really about, what is it that I'm not fulfilled by? I'm not filled with the light of God that I am. It's me. Like the soul is not fully in to fill you with that light. And so we reach for other things. And I really loved explaining that and bringing that into the light, so people also have compassion for themselves to know why you've had the drug addictions or still do, why you were drinking yourself to death every other night, why you were going with random partners having sex or still doing that, or just having mindless sex. Why are you having a hard time letting go of these foods that you just don't feel eating? It don't feel good eating. You know, all those things have deeper emotional and spiritual roots. And it boils down to coming home to yourself, letting your soul fully descend into this physical instrument, into this physical vehicle. But in order to do that, the physical vehicle has to be clean and pure and unobstructed. And then you have a whole different ride. You actually, your soul will be like, yeah, I'll jump into that car for sure with pleasure. And I don't even want to get off this ride, Now, after that junky car with this crazy driver, you get like this super slick Tesla coming around the corner, and it's like your dream person is sitting in the front seat, in the driver's seat, and he's like, come on in, honey. I'll take you on one heck of a ride.
I have never heard that before. I love all of it. Oh my gosh.
It's just now came through. Like literally, I'm like, okay.
This is incredible. I'm like, this makes so much sense. I've never thought about it like that.
Well, thank you for pulling it out of me or extracting it, because it literally I love speaking in analogies. People that have known me here for a while, they know. I just give examples and a lot in metaphors. It's just how I think, and I feel people really get the point with that as well, which is really like, because we're like kids, right? And kids like metaphors. Yeah. So it literally just came through. So thank you for extracting it.
I used to say, well, I'm so happy this came through. I feel like this is something that you've shared before, but it's so brand new. But the way I used to say it, or I explain it as like, it's like a switch that just like, I feel like I got activated. Like something just switched on in me. Like I was asleep, or I was like asleep, or my soul was asleep. And this was like an awakening of my soul. It's like, came online. Like it just like came on the grid. Like here I am. But before that, I wasn't all here. I wasn't all fully present, So definitely this is, I would love to dive deeper into that. I'm going to journal about this later.
Oh yeah, Aline, I already felt that. This definitely requires a deeper inspection or diving deeper into it, especially for you and I, going a little bit deeper into eating disorders and all of that, which we're not going to do in this conversation today. But Aline and I will do a separate thing in this group and in other platforms for sure, because we both share that history, and there's a lot that really needs to be brought into the light when it comes to this topic, because in our society, the way they go about it, just like physical illnesses, it's so ass backwards, and they have absolutely no idea the root causes of eating disorders when it comes to the spiritual root causes and the emotional and some other things. So, and then of course the purification of the body and the imbalances that occur in the brain, and why a person is actually like decides to starve themselves. So we'll do a separate video on that.
I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. I'm
for sure.
Book, and I'm loving this conversation so much. Yeah.
Yeah, and Aline, something that I actually wanted to go back to because you brought it up, and that was just like boom, so on point. What Aline shared about, and what we're talking about, you know, things coming up online. The soul occupies the body. So Aline said something very, very important to understand, and one of the reasons why we feel such immense transformation when we purify the body. She mentioned parasites, and that she said, I literally felt it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It's something else that is asking for the drugs, or asking for the alcohol, asking to have the sex, or asking to have the crappy food. Or even if it's not crappy food, even if it's like, you know, raw, vegan, whatever, organic, but you overeating it, stuffing yourself, like all these things. And it's, and I know that feeling. And it's like, you literally feel like there's something else asking for this. When you start to seeing it for what it is, and it is a process of expanding your awareness, and you realize, whoa, it's not me. So this is a very important topic, my friends, because like Aline said, they control, whether it be parasites, worms, fungus, any microorganisms. Now, caveat, side note, our body is filled with bacteria. It's okay. There's a reason why they're there. But when we have systemic candida, funguses, parasites, we got to ask ourselves why they are there. And they're there to clean out the mess. It's not that they're the enemy. They're in your body to clean out the mess that you have in your body, in your vehicle. But like Aline said, they control your mind, they control your thinking, they control your choices. So they basically, and this is going back to coming back home, they take over your sovereignty. That's pretty much what parasitic microorganism presence does in the body, because everything is connected. When your blood is not pure, your mind and your thoughts are going to be obstructed and impure as well. And they're going to move you more, the choices, the thoughts, the emotions, even when we talk about depression and even eating disorders, you are more in the direction of the dark place. And even Aline mentioned that she had a choice point in her life. I'm either going to relapse and go to the dark, or I'm going to course correct and I have an opportunity to rise above and go to the light. Right? And so she prayed to God to show her and help her to move in the direction of the light. So when we are under the influence of parasites, microorganisms that are literally taking over the body and taking over the consciousness, they're going to keep us in the darkness, and they are going to want us to make choices that are more of the dark places, because they feed not just on a physical level, that they feed on the trash that you have in your body and the mucoid plaque that Aline mentioned, because parasites hide in that snake. They feed off anything that is dark and dense. So that includes emotions and thoughts. They feed off you being depressed and anxious, stressed out, exhausted, fearful, hopeless, desperate. They feed off that. So they're going to influence you and make you make choices that are going to move you in that direction rather than a lighter direction. You see what I'm saying? And so when you start to purify and get more and more and more and more light in your body and getting those microorganisms out, naturally, your thoughts become different. Anxiety is not there anymore. Depression is like a lost memory. And even if you have certain cravings, because, you know, it's a process, you wouldn't even think about this. You might have the craving, but the thought of actually putting it in your mouth will just be like, I cannot do it. I just cannot. So it's really a beautiful process to observe. And we all have a personal journey with that, but it is really beautiful to observe and to realize that this journey, why it is so important is because you're walking back home to a place of sovereignty. You don't want anything to control your thoughts, my friends. And this, I mean, I can go into so many directions with that, but really you don't want anything to control your thoughts. You don't want anything to control your choices. You want to be sitting in that driver's seat. So it's you mentioned that, and I was like, boom, we gotta address that more. And if there's anything else that you would like to add and from your own experience with that, especially after doing several extended solitude vacations and a water fast.
Not really. Just yeah, no, I just want to encourage everybody to if you're here, if you're feeling the call, if you've been called to this space, even to this community, to even hearing about juice cleansing, just to believe in yourself, just to believe in yourself that you can do it. And the parasites will trick your mind too to thinking you can't do it or to stopping before it's time. I see that a lot with my clients and with people in our community that they set out to do 40 days or 60 days, and then after 10 days, like, oh, I can't do it anymore, I just need to eat, but I'm like, oh no, just keep on going, like, you got this. Just to be aware of that going into a solid food vacation, knowing that they're going to come out and fight you, and they're going to come out because they don't want to die, they don't want to leave your body. So you just come into it with an action plan, come into it with like, get some support, get a mentor, have an accountability partner, and if, as much as possible, clean out the food from the house. Prepare yourself for these attacks, because they came out really strong in me, like especially just before I would have a big release. I thought I was ready to stop the fast. I thought I was ready for food, but I just kept on going. Like God just kept me going. It was like, no, you're not ready. Even after a week of not releasing anything at all, I could have eaten. And I said, no, continue a little bit longer. And then boom, like another big release. So just before those big breakthroughs, I feel like they really come out of the woodworks and they're like crying out for life. So yeah, just be prepared and know that just sitting through it, and breath work also helped me a lot, like learning to breathe deep, learning to have different breath work techniques, like alternate nostril breathing and breath of fire, different pranayamas was like really hopeful for me to get through those difficult moments. So yeah, breath work was really beneficial, moving the energy around in some other way, like the gentle yoga or rebounding or dancing, just to like shake the energy around, connecting to nature too, grounding in the earth, hugging trees, just like really connecting with nature, instead of going to the food automatically to soothe myself was like revolutionary. I was like, oh, I don't. And then it passes too, even in addictions, they say that there's this it's like a mountain, right? Like the craving will kind of go up, 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 but then it'll like hit a peak where it's like so strong. But then what does it do? Like it has no other choice than to like go down. So, you might have that craving, but if you just give it time and do something else or write it out or scream it out or something, like just move that energy around and know that you're not going to die. You're going to be okay. You're getting enough nutrition. Also make sure you're drinking enough juice. Like that was another thing. But yeah, just like remind yourself that you are safe. Because sometimes I feel like that, like, oh my God, it's like I'm gonna die, but it's like the old self that's kind of dying, the ego is dying, the programming is dying. Like, yeah, you are in a sense dying to yourself, but you're not physically gonna die. But it can be scary to be in those spaces of, I don't know what's next. My friend Jenny, she lost 130 pounds on her 266-day juice cleanse. And she explains, she would be another amazing guest, by the way, for this for this community. And she's incredible. And she's like, I don't know what it means to not be fat you know, my whole life I was overweight. So this is like her identity that was molded, that was in her, you know. She just, it's scary for her to be thin. It's scary for her to be wearing normal, like, you know, medium-sized clothes. Like, she's always been a plus size. So there's an identity that we're attached to. And she was literally like, I had to die to my old self to become this new person, and to just dive into the unknown of what that means. So there's a lot, it runs very deep, you know, the protection that we put around ourselves, that's weight. It's a protection, and a lot of it comes from trauma. And I say this knowing it, because as much as I was underweight, I have also had periods where I was very overweight in my life, where I just didn't want to be seen. I didn't want anybody to come close to me. I just wanted to protect myself, in a sense, not be sexy, you know, like I have a deep fear of, like, you know, like showing myself in a certain way. So part of my journey is to do that, is to break through that, to be my sexy self, to be my sensual self. And if people feel uncomfortable with that, it's not really my problem. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot of deep rooted programmings about, for women, a lot of us, is to, like, you know, kind of play small and don't take up too much space, and don't make this one feel uncomfortable. Don't make that one feel uncomfortable. Don't say the wrong thing. And I came to realize that if I was ever going to get better, I was going to have to speak. I was going to have to recover out loud. This is just my journey. And I would have to be accountable to the ones that were, you know, following me, or in my surroundings at least. And I don't share every single detail of my life out there. You know what I mean? Like, I have my tight circle of friends that know more personal details of my life, but I do come out publicly and share, because I feel like it's my responsibility too. I feel like it's my sacred duty, in a sense, to be authentic and to be vulnerable. And that has given me a lot of strength, actually. Yeah. That went off for something that I didn't really have anything to add on to.
Oh my God, no, this is perfect. And thank you so much for bringing, oh my God, the identity piece, Aline. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, because Aline just brought up one of the major components when it comes to healing oneself. So for some people, it is like Jenny, which please connect us, because I would love to bring her on board. And just so you know, that woman that released, she didn't lose, she released 130 pounds of toxic matter. She was a big person, just as a side note, right?
Yeah, she was 260 pounds.
Yeah, yes. So we'll bring her to the group. Wonderful. So for some people, it's the weight, but for some people, I know some of you that are watching are also sick, right? Like, you've had a history of going to the hospitals, surgeries, medications, diagnosis. Your doctor is like your partner, basically. Like, you see the doctor more than you see your mother. So, you know, things like that, in which you have an identity around being sick, around being an illness, having an illness, especially if you have a particular diagnosis. Then you start having just like the big person is like, I'm fat, you know, the identity is around that. A lot of people have identity unconsciously around, I'm sick, or I have the diagnosis, because doctors basically put a death sentence on you that controls your minds. Like, oh, I have this thing, like, oh, because all these diseases, the names, it's false. It's just false names that they have given to the exact same thing. Your body is acidic. Let's take care of that, instead of calling it bazillion different names. You know, it's ludicrous. So a person can form an identity around, I have cancer, or lupus, or this, or this, or this, or depression, or I'm this, like, and then who am I without that? So that's when I see, you know, when people ask me, well, how come Aline goes on the living foods, on the fruits, and look at her. She doesn't have depression. She's this and that, and there's so many stories. Well, then how come Sarah or Bob, they're doing exactly the same thing, but they're just getting worse, or it's just not getting better for them? Then we got to look a little bit deeper. is Bob or Sarah afraid to lose their identity of being sick or being depressed or being an addict or having the illness, having your identity wrapped around just, being sick? And that's on the cellular level. That's what your cells know, and they run that program. It's just program that is running. That's why healing is not, oh, just drink this juice and take these herbs and you're good to go. I mean, for some people that might be the case, but for majority, it's not. It's a big topic. You opened up here with the identity, for sure, that I've seen it time and time again, is that what's more important is with a person to focus on, okay, let's see how come it's still challenging for you to let go of the pain, because we want to be gentle also in the process. Like, why is it hard for you or challenging for you to let go of that identity of being sick or being overweight or being depressed or being an addict? Or what is that? And then we get into the core, the deeper core of what you said, Aline. Well, I don't really know who I am if it's not with that. But then it's to be comfortable with just being empty. Okay, then don't know. But you know that something is greater is available to you, because you don't want to be depressed. You don't want to be anxious. You don't want to be fat and sick. You don't want to see your doctor and be dependent on pharmaceuticals or just be attached to this diagnosis. We know you don't want that. Right? So it's the courage to say, I'm just going to let things be empty for a little while, and I don't know who I am, but I know, at least I know I don't want to be that no more.
Yes, exactly. If that's all that's amazing. That's what I went with for many years. It was just like, I know I don't want this, and there's got to be a different way. There's got to be another way. Like, just having that opening is going to lead you to all the answers, like the right people are going to come your way, the right answers, the right books are just going to fall into your lap. Like, I'm telling you, it's just going to start happening once you are open to receiving and to taking that chance to getting to know what's on the other side. You're going to be shown. Like, that's how God works. God is all powerful, and he works through people. He works through these miracles, but we have to stay open to them. We have to take that next step. And just be open. But like, all I had to know was like, there's got to be another way. Like, show me the way. Just show me the way. And I was shown. I am being shown every single day. Yeah.
Wow, God bless you. I say the same thing. I always repeat, show me the way, show me the way, show me the way. Yeah. And then to be shown, for sure, and to become comfortable. Like we said, like, just to be comfortable with not knowing. And that's another ego trip, right? The ego wants to know and to hold on to some identities, whatever the identity is, even if the identity is making you miserable, sick, and depressed. It's that's why it's again and again, you see how much this is a spiritual journey more than anything else.
It really is.
More than anything else. And then because everything else follows that, like your choices are going to change, what you're going to feel attracted to is going to change, what you resonate with is going to change. And like Aline is sharing, like, God is just going to align the most beautiful people in your life, the most beautiful opportunities, the most beautiful things that your ego mind cannot even comprehend.
Right. Like, you are the confirmation of all my hard work, like, you coming into my life is literally like such a great blessing, and I'm like, okay, thank you, God, for sending me this amazing sister, whose path has been so aligned with mine, like parallel lives, almost even to the timing of our juice cleanses, to the timing of our water fast. Like, it's incredible, to our love for durian, you know, like we were connecting. And I'm telling you, I would have never connected with the sister had I not been doing this work. And like, I just discovered durian and I'm completely obsessed, and you're in durian heaven. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to come and see you. Like, how can we make this happen? So there's like just like the snowball effect that happens just from following your bliss and following your health, following your journey of awakening, and like amazing blessings are coming my way every single day. And I'm just like, thank you. So, like, I laugh sometimes. I laugh and I cry. Like, I literally laugh, cry all the time, because I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is incredible. Like, thank you so much. And I also wanted to say this, that I have thanked God for my blessings that I have today. Like, I don't pray saying like, oh, please give me this, please give me that. I thank God for already having given it to me. Like, that's how it's been. I'm like, thank you so much for sending me all the bright people. Thank you for the millions of dollars in my bank account. Thank you for everything, because it's there. And it's just a matter of time that everything comes into play. But we got to claim it and thank him, because he's already given it all to us.
It's already within us.
Yes.
Yeah, bless it. So true that it's our natural state. You know, any place in or area in life that we experience any kind of lack or disharmony, it's basically because we are out of alignment with our natural state.
Yes.
And again, I say it throughout this live, is that it's a journey of coming back home to yourself, which is already a full place in all areas. It's just abundance, prosperity, fulfillment. Health is a form of abundance, you know. So when you are out of alignment, because your body, it's all in your inner terrain is in disharmony,
Yeah,
then we are going to experience some sort of disharmony externally. And then when we shift the chemistry, the body starts to come back to a state of harmony and peace, then we're going to see it externally as well, manifesting in different areas. So everything is a mirror, just to show us, oh, where is there disharmony here? That's why everything is a blessing. That's why we're never a victim. Everything is a blessing, showing me, okay, now I get to fine tune this, or I get to clean things up over here. That's why it's nothing but it's not a boring journey whatsoever. No. It's not a boring journey whatsoever.
I used to think I was going to be so boring without the substances and the drugs and the alcohol. And like, there was a deep sense of, who am I without this? Like, I'm probably going to be so boring. I was the life of the party. I love to dance. I love to make everybody laugh. And I was like, I'm probably not going to be like that anymore, you know, but like, I'm even better now, you know, like, I'm just like more of myself without needing any chemicals to alter my mood. You know, if I want to get high, like, I'll tell you honestly, like, I'll fast for 2 days before a party. You know, I literally still go to parties and I'll fast and I take a little microdose of, you know, mushrooms or something natural like that. And I go and I'm fine. Like, I don't want the alcohol. I don't want the cigarettes. I don't want the weed. I don't want the cocaine, like none of it, you know? So it's helped me a lot to go like that, to empty myself and to be like more on a natural high. Yeah.
Yes, because it's all in our body anyway. And Aline, when you come here to Asia, then you'll get high on durian, that's for sure.
I know.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, durian is a fruit that is found in South Asia, Hawaii as well, and some places in Central America. But it's the king of fruits. I'm doing like a quick side note on durian. It's the king of fruits. It's a whole experience having it. There's like fruits, you know, we can put the fruits and all the fruits that go under the category. And there's, even though durian is a fruit, but then there's durian, like literally, it's just, you know, and that's pretty much after it's been a month now after my last solid food vacation. And that's pretty much the only solid, because I'm still drinking mainly juice. And then durian is the only thing I want to eat and it's a psychedelic experience, and that's pretty much what connected me and Aline, is through the durian. We'll share that story at another time. But I just wanted to say, because we mentioned the word durian, and I know some people don't even know, but if you come to visit me in Bali or in Asia at some point, in the retreat center that will be opened here, and it's durian season, then you'll get to enjoy durian. Or when Aline and I actually do like a durian retreat.
Oh, yes.
It's going to be an interesting, like, juice and durian and fasting, we're going to dance with all those components, and it's like the best. But that's really is. It's like, it's the high, it's the drugs that are already within us. Because Aline and I talked about it a little bit between her and I, is that when people use the drugs, the cocaine, the alcohol, whatever it may be, it's just basically activating what is already within us. Even with the plant medicine, which has a lot of benefits, especially when it comes to recovery, but it's not something to do over and over and over and over again, because it's just opening a door. It's just showing us, like, look, it's already even the durian is just showing, like, look, it's already inside of you. You can tap into it even without the external substance, and nevertheless an external substance that have other implications that are detrimental to your health and your body in the long run. So it's again, it's the coming home to self, right? Like, whoa, I'm recognizing that I'm this like walking pharmacy basically, and I can activate it, I can access it whenever I want.
We are the medicine.
Yes. Yeah. And Aline, I'm curious if, because of your history that you have with drug addictions and such, do you also work with people that are in recovery or are looking for a different route than the medical route to actually come out of drug addictions in particular?
I have been working with people with alcohol addictions, and I would say cannabis addictions at the moment, but I've never worked with harder drugs. I haven't really, no, they haven't come to me quite yet, but I am preparing and studying and learning how to serve iboga, which is a very strong plant medicine. So that is part of my mission, is to help people to come off of harder drugs for sure. But I would need a period of time with them physically. It's a little bit hard because most of my work is all online. So I feel like that would require a few weeks together, to go through the detox process and the ceremony, the integration, the food aspect of it, for me to, prepare the food and help them to know how to make the food as well. So that'll be like a little bit of a longer process. But I do, attend meetings still online. I do have, many people in my surrounding that I'm telling them about the living foods and the raw foods, but I've never actually worked one-on-one with anybody with more severe drug addictions.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet, definitely. No, but still, I mean, even the alcohol and the cannabis, it's amazing. Okay, love. So closing words, I know that we can go for so long, like literally for hours. At least for me, I just get, I just get fired up. I was like, okay, let's just keep on going. But for now, for this one, that's what I like to ask, inspiring words that you have for people that may have a hard time, even, or a challenging time to choose themselves and choose their health.
There's nothing better that you can do than take care of yourself. Sometimes we think it's selfish, but it's self-full. Because if we think of how we can serve other people and be there for others, it starts by us ourselves having our cup full, and then the overflow is for others. But our cup has to be full, and the only way it's going to be full is if we take good care of ourselves. and that is the greatest way too that we can honor God, because he brought us here. We're here for a reason. We're here for an important mission, whether that mission is, to be at home, taking care of your children, or starting a business, or working somewhere, like whatever it may be, like to be able to do that work good. Like we have to be in good health. We have to be aligned with at least our healthy body, so that our mind can function properly too. And you owe that to yourself. And it's not like, I feel like a lot of the times we feel guilty. We have this like self-sabotaging or this self-doubt that we're not worthy of that health. So I encourage you all to look at those parts of yourself that feel unworthy of feeling your best, of looking your best, and know that you are worthy, know that you do deserve to live optimally, that you do deserve to feel your best and to not feel pain every day, and like be able to go to sleep good at night. It's like, it is your birthright to feel great and to be like children and to play, to live out your divine mission. And believe in yourself and keep the hope. Like, don't give up hope. That's what my dad always told me. It was like, Aline, no matter how dark it gets, like, just don't give up hope, And what I do is I light a candle for myself every day, and I look at that light and I remind myself of that light that burns inside of me. And the more I've been taking care of myself, the more that light has been growing, when sometimes in my life it was so dim and so small, but it was there. Like I felt it there. Like it never turned off, even in my suicide attempts, even in the darkest days, like that light was always there. Like I knew I was meant for something else. So yeah, just dig really deep and like find that light, even if it's just a tiny little spark, and it will grow. And just one foot in front of the other, like don't think of, if a juice cleanse feels overwhelming, don't think of the juice cleanse. Think of making one juice a day, like everybody could do that. Or if you can't make a juice a day, go buy a juice. Like we can all make that next step. Like stop making excuses for yourself. Stop lying to yourself that you can't go buy a juice or you can't make a juice. Like you got to take those steps to make that effort and believe that you can do it, and just do it, and the more living foods you will put into your body, the more you're going to naturally gravitate towards them, and like starting from the rising too, like don't, like make your first meal a day a juice, for example, instead of like the meat or the bacon and the beans and those heavy foods. Like setting off your day with like a positive choice is going to set your whole day differently. So definitely break fast with juice, then fruit, and then move towards, salads, or if you're going to have a little bit of cooked food, like have it in the evening times. That's what helped me the most. And that's what helps my clients too, is like start your day off with liquids and then move towards fruit throughout the day. That'll change everything. Yeah.
Boom. Boom, you nailed it there. Like, stop making excuses. It's like, yeah, again, just empower yourself, because it's the ego making the excuses. They're like, oh no, I can't make juice. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's a will, there's a way, right? Like that's pretty much it. Amazing, Aline. Wow. So thank you so very much. And that candle, how beautiful. My goodness, so beautiful. I use that too, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, there's something to be said about the fire and the flame and the symbolic or the symbolism of it, and that flame within us that we can see outside there with a candle. And if that helps you, to have that external thing to connect you to that spark within you and that growing fire, then thank you for offering that, Aline, and bringing that to the table today. And so those of you that are here live, and thank you for watching us, if you have any questions, you can just type it in the comments. I didn't see any questions come through, but any words for Aline, gratitude, appreciation, anything like that, if you're watching later in the group or any other platforms, if it's from my YouTube channel or if Aline is going to post it on her channels, just write comments, and if you have questions and such, and then I always go back to that. And so as I'm waiting for people to bring the comments on, Aline, thank you so much. It's it it was such a pleasure and a delight to have you share with us. And you carry, I feel that you carry so much wisdom, because that was your chosen journey, right? Everything that you have experienced in your life, and that applies to all of us, but I'm speaking directly to Aline now. Everything that you've experienced in your life with those dark places, and the addictions and the eating disorders, the health issues that you had, all those dark places, and you chose, with every choice that you made, you kept choosing to come back to yourself, to come back to the light. So I want to reflect to you your courage and your perseverance and your dedication and devotion, truly what it means to be dedicated and devoted to God, to the light. And that you recognized your life as the gift that it is in this physical form. And that you continue to make those choices despite the challenges, because hey, we're still in this human experience, in this human soup. So reflecting you back, this courage, this dedication that you have, and the light that you carry inside of you, and what a gift it is. And that I am grateful and honored to know you, and thrilled for everything else and all the magic that is in store for us together. Thank you for coming here today and helping to share this message of hope, like you said, right? Of hope and love.
You're incredible. You're incredible. You are so, so special. I have never met anybody like you. You are a true light in our world, and you are changing lives. You truly are changing lives and changing the world. You know, one individual can make such a big difference, and you have certainly made a huge difference in my life, and I'm sure the life of so many others, like those that are watching right now, and those that you've been touching over the last, all the years that you've, you know, been here. It's just like, thank you so much for seeing me, for recognizing me. I never thought I would ever be here today, you know. Like I never thought that my journey would be like anybody would want to hear it, you know. I felt like such a fuck up. I felt like I couldn't get anything right. And I was like, what? Like, people want to hear my story of addiction? Like, really? Like, this is what I'm being known for? Like, this is crazy, you know. Like, even my family is like, okay, like she's going on an interview. Like, they're a little confused, but they see the light, you know. So no matter, oh yes, I wanted to say this too, that like, you know, what you touched upon is so good about it's like, it reminds me of the light. The wound is where the light enters us, you know. So whatever it is somebody's struggling with, whether it's diabetes or addiction or like so many different health issues, like whatever it is, like that is also what's going to set you free, you know. That's also part of your mission work. It's like the shadow, it's like the other side, the flip side of what you're actually meant to be doing. And like, once I tapped into that, like, oh, this isn't happening to me, it's happening for me. That's when the whole game changed. I was like, how am I going to use this to better other people's lives? You know, and we all have that. So whatever it is that you're struggling with, like, look into that, and that's your service work, you know? So yeah.
Aho, 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 and amen. And again, it comes back to the power is always in your hands. You be in the seat, because nothing is. I'm creating this. I created this depression. I created this addiction. I created this disease. Really, it really is that. And then we get to discover, well, why? Why did I create that? But we don't want to get lost in the why. Okay, why? Just to take the responsibility. But then, oh, okay, well, if I created that, then I'm powerful enough to uncreate it.
Exactly.
And then you pray, and then you say, okay, God, then show me the way. And then God will bring you to Noah. It will bring you to Aline. It will bring you to like, oh, it's that simple. Let me just align back with nature. purify my vehicle and everything follows. It's that simple. And then, of course, like Aline said, the support, the community is a must. Like some people, I'm a soldier in that way, and I can do it without, and I have, I have done it without community. Like, but that's just and the way I'm built. Majority of people, especially the beginning stages, and hey, I mean, I have friends. I know how important it is to have the community and the people. I can do it, but it's a lot easier for me and a lot more fun to do it with people.
Yeah.
So even if a person is built to like, okay, I can do it solo, it's against the divine design, because as humans, we were designed to be in like a pod, in a tribe. And so that's also a huge step in someone's life. Like if you are looking to improve or take the next step or go on a solitude vacation, and especially if it's something new, plug into a community, plug in, even if it's just like a small circle of, we're all doing it together. It's essential. And it's also something that fulfills us, right? So we feel more full by the relationships, by the connection, but this flow of love and support and mutual appreciation. And that is a form of nourishment, my friends. Yeah.
Definitely.
Like I feel so nourished when you and I had that conversation just a few days ago, and I was just like, I was so buzzed after that,
Yes, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
It's the real soul food.
The nourishment, the different forms that we nourish ourselves, and that's when food really becomes like secondary. You really just eat because it's like, well, entertaining.
It's so funny. Jerome just shared something. We had done an interview like last year, I think, and he just shared it today on his YouTube, a little snippet from that. And that's what he was talking about, exactly like what you're saying. He was saying, nourishing conversations, connecting with others. And then you're not even thinking of food. That's exactly what he was saying. And it came at, like, he did that today. I was like, whoa, this is in line.
Oh, yes, it's coming through. It's in the field. Yeah, because that's when we go into and again, you and I will do other conversations. We go into the chronic nourishment. This is all natural state. That's all. I mean, food, even for like, ultimately, it's a stimulant, and it's not for everyone in this lifetime, but for those that are on this path, which I know is for me, you get to a point, and this is a natural progression. It just happens. It's not something you read in a book and then you do a process for 2 weeks and like it's going to happen. No, it's either you're meant for it or you're not. And if you are meant for it, you'll know it, and it's going to unfold in your life naturally, and food will just slowly fall away. And I'll share more about that, because it's my personal journey, and there's a lot there. But again, it's not for everyone. It really is not for everyone. But yes, so that's when you really get to see how much we are nourished by so many other things. And it's a beautiful journey to explore. So we did the closing words, and then we opened a whole other conversation.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this space and your energy, your love, and all of it. And I love you right back. And thank you so much to everybody who joined us, either today on the live or 10 years from now. Love you all so much.
Yes. God bless, Aline. And I want to share here Pamela's comment. That this has been a blessing to hear, and I plan to share this with my son, who suffers from severe depression. So she's thanking you. Thank you, Aline. And
thank you so much, Queen Pamela.
Pamela is sure as a queen. Yes. So, and if any of you want to get in touch with Aline, well, she's in the group now, the Revitalize Your Life, so you can always tag her and comment whatever love you want to send her on this platform. Aline also has a Facebook group that is called the Kings and Queens of Ra.
Yes, that's right.
Right? Yeah, the Kings and Queens of Ra. And I'll on the YouTube, you'll see all the links down below as well. So I'll share Aline's group as well, and her Facebook or Instagram on here as well. So if you want to get in touch with her, especially if you are working with addictions, like Aline was mentioning, then that it's always helpful to work with somebody that has walked that path, because they know exactly like the ins and outs of what it means to be an addict. So then you get in touch with Aline, and yeah, more to come. Thank you again, beloved. I bless you so much. And again, also for the time, I know it's nighttime over there on the East Coast. So thank you so much for your willingness to show up later in the day. Yes, and lots of love to everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good night, or grand risings. Bye.
Bye, love. Ciao.
Bye.